As an OFW or overseas Filipino worker, a plan or budget for our paycheck is one aspect that we need to emphasize. We'll explore a few types of budgeting systems and provide some examples on how to apply them in actual scenarios. This is a guide for dividing your income into different brackets. This system gives a good estimate for covering your living expenses and for your savings and debt repayment. The 50-30-20 budget system can also be used by itself or as a basis for other budgeting systems. You may also tweak the percentage allotments depending on your needs. Based on the take home pay or after tax income, 50% will be allotted to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings and debt repayment. As an example, my monthly take home pay is 5,000, so for my needs, it will be 2,500 and 1,500 for the wants, and then 1,000 for savings and debt repayment. If you're an OFW in Singapore like me, do note that the income tax is not automatically deducted from your monthly salary. In my case, they have an automatic setup that calculates the monthly amount to be paid based on the last year's tax assessment and deducted from my bank account. You may need to check on this with your employer and add a budget for your tax payment on your needs category when you budget your paycheck. The envelope system is based on a traditional way of putting cash to physical envelopes, dividing your income into each category based on the limit you set for each envelope. Say you added $200 cash in your groceries envelope. Once you spent all of it, you can't spend any more for this month until your next paycheck arrives. This is a good budget system that stops you from spending money without a care in the world. Today, there are some apps used to budget your income each month, and both ways have their own pros and cons. Good Budget is an app that uses the envelope system. Using Good Budget, I have set up some categories for needs, wants, and savings. You can also do this using physical envelopes if you are a tactile person. So here I have added envelope for groceries, rent, transportation, utilities, phone, internet, all the needs, and then for the wants, I think I've added personal expenses. And for the savings, I've added emergency fund or new phone. This is also for the wants, travel fund, and other annual bills. And then you fill those envelopes every month when you receive your paycheck. This reverse approach focuses around savings goals instead of expenses. You can use the 50-30-20 as a guide to determine the initial conservative amount for your savings goals and adjust accordingly. You can use this system if you are focusing on building up your emergency fund and no outstanding debts with high interest rates. On this system, you focus on 20% savings, 50% needs, and 30% wants. As long as you can cover all your necessary expenses, you can adjust your savings percentage more, but not sacrificing the amount allocated for needs. Another advantage of this system is being low maintenance and you don't need to categorize every expense. For example, my monthly take-home pay is 5,000. My savings and debt repayment will be 1,500 or 1,500. Needs is 2,500 and wants for $1,000. This is similar to the 50-30-20, but my focus is on the savings and debt repayment. Another option or another example is my percentage allocation is 40-50-10, which is 40% savings, 50% needs, and 10% wants. So based on that example, it will be 2,000 for my savings, 2,500 for needs, and 500 for wants. This style of budgeting requires a more hands-on monitoring of expenses and transactions in your bank account. It provides you a clear view of your spending. You assign every single dollar based on your plan. To be honest, this system takes the most time to set up and maintain, but the payoff is huge as well. Every Dollar and YNAB are great apps to use for this approach. I prepared a basic list of items based on the needs, wants, savings categorization. Based on the same take-home pay, we assign the amount for each category and record each transaction against those categories over time. If you're using YNAB, this is a great tool for monitoring your expenses, tracking your expenses, and your funds as well. They also include tracking for debt payments. Once you have decided on which system to use, try it and let me know of your progress in the comments. Remember, learning something new and applying it takes time and practice, so just keep pushing forward. You'll be pleased to learn that it took me a few years of on and off budgeting using YNAB before I was able to stick to it consistently. Gambaray! For other budgeting videos, click this now or else.